Here, stop your pushing there. My Popeye's Poopdeck, Pappy. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. In building boats, I'm never wrong. I built a million, short and long. I'm 99 and going strong. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy.
In the early Seagar strips, Popeye was a tough character. You know, he was definitely getting in fights with everyone. And, you know, that was part of the character. I mean, that was part of the appeal. But once he stepped up into animation, you know, he had a new fan base, and it was kids. You know, kids really loved this character. At King Features, you know, which is owned by the Hearst Corporation, William Randolph Hearst himself actually shot off a letter in 1934 saying, you know, Popeye's a hit with kids, you know, and I think we need to soften him a little bit.
Supposedly, Pappy was introduced to kind of soften out Popeye. I guess Popeye had gotten a bit too rough for some readers, so, you know, blame somebody else. Blame Pappy, you know. So Pappy could get into mischief and cause a lot of trouble, and then, you know, Popeye could stay the hero and stay honorable.
As tough and rough and gruff as Popeye was, Pappy was even more so. You know, he was just a nasty, nasty old man. And anytime he came into the circle, it just lightened Popeye that much because he had to deal with this heavy guy, just a mean guy, and he didn't accept anything.
For a long time in the strip, Popeye was looking for his dad, his papa, Poopdeck Pappy. I can remember in my mind the day he found him, and he said, "Use me, Pappy." He says, "No, I ain't." And he said, "Well, look at you." And he said, "What do you mean?" "Well, look at your bulgy arms." "What bulgy arms?" "The squinkly eye." "What squinty eye?" And that's the same scene they put in the movie with Ray Walston playing Popeye's dad.
He, in some ways, allowed you to see where Popeye came from. He looked exactly like Popeye, except that he had that little beard. He had Popeye's irascibility without the kind of nobility that Popeye had. The Fleischers used him in the Goon Island cartoon. It was wonderful to see how he spurned Popeye because he was a distant memory.
Pappy. Eh? Don't you rememorize when I was born very young and I looked just like a little baby and you was me Pappy? I'm your son, Popeye.
Poopdeck Pappy shows up for the first time in Goonland and sort of sticks around in a lot of the later Fleischer cartoons. And in fact, here's another great example of Popeye being kind to a character, his father, who is actually kind of mean to him.
Ain't you anxious to see me? What you want me to do, kiss you?
What a great character, you know, a guy tougher and more coarse than Popeye himself, but again, with a heart of gold that Popeye has to find.
Oh, Pappy! My son, my only child!
Poopdeck Pappy was, I think, a less sympathetic character because he was kind of had this rough edge, and, you know, he'd abandoned Popeye at some point. But I think for Poopdeck Pappy and Popeye character, it shows, believe it or not, it shows forgiveness, you know, and that families are stronger than bad behavior. He also looks like Popeye with a beard, and that's good, too. He kind of, the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree, you know?
There was a couple of warm ones that I remember got me right there, you know. I just remember getting a little teary at the end, you know, for their relationship. Because it was obvious, even though Poopdeck was an older version of Popeye, you know, whenever you're up against somebody who's too similar to you is when you have the most trouble. There was obviously a love between the two characters.
You better skip back, Sonny. I ain't no warning you. It's a long ways down without an elevator. Too bad. He was a good boy.
You know, Popeye's just trying to go out and help his dad, and his dad tries to kill him. He's like, doesn't even flinch, just cuts a rope and says goodbye.
Popeye and his father, Poopdeck Pappy, have a peculiar relationship by which father and son roles are reversed, and the father becomes the most unruly son you could imagine, and poor Popeye has to try and keep him out of trouble. He's a 96 or 99-year-old juvenile delinquent, depending which age you believe, who incidentally doesn't like relatives. That includes Popeye. But it's a dysfunctional relationship. But all of these things we can accept on face value, I think, because Popeye's world is such a peculiar one. The strange settings, even the names are peculiar, so we just take it at face value.
Oh, I just found me Pappy, and now I am happy. I'm Popeye, the sailor's old man.
Bye.